Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Liz, and in today's video, we're doing high-end DIYs from Dollar Tree that are perfect for summer. Around this time of year, solar lights are so popular at Dollar Tree, so I picked up 3 black ones. I also picked up 3 mason jars with these black lids that they sell at Dollar Tree. Now for this DIY, I'm also going to grab some of the colored pebbles that they have. They have a ton of different colors. I went with clear, green, and blue. So I'm going to start with my mason jars. I'm going to E6000 the pebbles to my mason jar. Now I decided to start at the bottom and I just went around the edge, getting them as close as possible. You want to make sure you use a generous amount of glue so that they'll stay on. Once I got a few rows up, I did flip the container over and it was easier for me to put them on. Now I went all the way up until I had probably about a ½ an inch left at the top where I couldn't add another row. I'm going to repeat these steps with the other colored pebbles. Now I will tell you, for 2 of my jars, I just used 1 bag of pebbles. And on the 3rd one, I had to use a little bit from a 2nd bag. So I'd probably buy 2 bags for each of your mason jars if you're going to do this craft. So we're gonna be using these black lids. Now, the ones I got are in the shape of a star. So I just grabbed my wire cutters and I bent back the edges of the stars so that my solar lights will actually fit in there. Now, once I got them bent back, I took the base of the solar light off and I put them into my jars, just to make sure that they fit. Once I got them to fit securely, I added a little bit of E6000 to the solar light so it would hold in place really well. And then I just screwed the lids onto the jars. I think these solar light jars look perfect in a grouping of 3. Another solar light idea that you can do, this one is going to be great for your outdoor dining tables, or maybe you have an outdoor coffee table. You want to pick up 5 more solar lights. These I got in the silver color. You're also going to need a 4x4 board. Now I grabbed mine at Lowe's, but you could pick it up anywhere. So the first thing I did was I just cut my board down to size based on the size of my coffee table. You can make this any size you want. You can make it smaller or bigger, but I just wanted it to fit well on my coffee table. This is actually a really easy DIY to do, but you are going to need some tools. Like, one of the tools you're going to need is a large set of drill bits to create holes for the solar lights to go in. I took the bottom piece off of my silver solar lights. I was trying to figure out which drill bit was going to be about the same size as my solar light. So once I picked one, I added it to my drill, and I will link to all these tools down in the description box for you guys. Next, I came in and I marked my board. My board was about 30 inches long, so every 5 inches I made a mark so I knew exactly where to drill. Next, I came in with my drill and drilled holes straight down. I then would put a solar light into that hole just to make sure it was going to fit in there securely. You can always adjust your drill bit size as well. Next, I sanded down my entire board and I came in with a dark stain. Now, to stain a board, I usually just will brush the color on and then I immediately wipe it off with a paper towel. Once your board is dry, you can add in your lights. and here's how this solar light centerpiece turned out. If you guys have made it this far in the video, thank you so much for watching. Go down in the comments and comment the word of the day, which is fun. Next, we're gonna create a wall art piece. So for this DIY, you're going to need 3 candle snuffers from Dollar Tree. You're also gonna need 3 succulents. And then I also grabbed 3 wood boards in different sizes from Lowe's. Now, if you have a pair of wire cutters, that's gonna work the best for this DIY. You're gonna cut your candle snuffer right at that base where the handle is attached to it. Next, I'm going to hot glue my succulents into my candle snuffers. Now, I added quite a bit of hot glue to the base of these and then just put the succulents in. Now, once I got to this point, I realized that I didn't like the base of the candle snuffers, so I grabbed some of my faux leather and I hot glued it to the back. I wrapped it around twice and then cut off the excess and just hot glued that in place. I felt like this did a good job of kind of finishing off that bottom piece. And then I positioned my succulents where I wanted to hot glue them down. And then from there, all I had to do was hot glue them to the wood pieces. Now, to hang this on the wall, you could always put hangers on there. I've been loving using command strips on the back, so you just grab a couple of command strips. I'll link to the ones I use down in the description box, and then you can just place them on the wall. And here's how this wall art piece turned out. If you're not already following me on TikTok at Fenwick DIY, I post every time I go shopping at Dollar Tree. So if you're wanting to get the behind the scenes of what DIYs I'm gonna be posting, make sure you follow me on TikTok. This next piece is a wall art piece, so you're gonna need to grab 2 canvases from Dollar Tree. You're also going to need a stick from your backyard. I love going out in my backyard and grabbing sticks, so just grab a couple for this project. They don't need to be too big. And then you're going to need some yarn in whatever color you wanna use. I just grabbed some from my stash, but they also sell yarn at Dollar Tree. So I'm gonna start by hot gluing my stick to the center of my canvas. I was trying to figure out if I should use hot glue or E6000 on the canvas. I ultimately decided that E6000 would probably be the better option here. So I'm gonna put some E6000 down and I'm going to place my yarn on the E6000 and cut it at the end. I really wanted my pieces of yarn to be the same size, and I thought about cutting them before, but I ultimately decided that I should cut them on the canvas because once they go over the stick, I was afraid that they wouldn't be the right size. And I just lightly pressed the yarn down into the E6000. Now this is totally a fun piece. You can do different colors, put the yarn wherever you want. I put the yarn in 3 different places on this stick, kind of based on the shape of this stick. Now on my second canvas, I wanted it to look completely different. So I had this straight stick and I hot glued that down over on the side of the canvas. From there, I started in the middle, just creating long pieces, and I wanted it to kind of taper down to the edges. I love wall art pieces like this because I can be really creative. I just kind of make up the colors and the patterns as I go. I think these 2 pieces look so great together. You guys are gonna have to let me know what you think of this. I know it's a little out there, but I'd love to know your opinion in the comments. If you love budget-friendly decorating ideas, consider subscribing to my channel. I post new videos on Mondays and Thursdays. Next, I'm going to show you how I created a decorative vase. Now for this project, you're only going to need 2 items. You're going to need a clear vase from Dollar Tree. You're also going to need some of their bamboo skewers. Now you guys, I love these bamboo skewers. I use them in so many different crafts and DIYs, and this is the time of year to pick them up. You can grab them in the smaller size as well as the longer ones. I recommend grabbing a few packs of both of these. I wanted my bamboo skewers to go around my clear jar, so I needed to cut them down. So I was kind of experimenting with the best way to do this. So I laid them out on a board and I used some frog painter's tape to kind of hold them in place because I was hoping to cut them all at the same size. And I taped them on both sides. I figured out exactly where I wanted to cut them. I laid the clear vase down and then I drew a line across so I knew where they needed to be cut. Then I used my saw, which is great for cutting like smaller items. Then I sawed through the bamboo skewers. Now, as I was doing this, I was kind of moving them around and my lines weren't straight. And so I cut them about halfway and I figured that would be okay. For the rest of them, I would just kind of pop them off. Once you create a small cut, you can always like pop them off at the ends. This works well too if you're just doing one of them. You can always cut it at the end and then pop off the excess. Next, I was going to attach my bamboo skewers to this clear jar. I found the E6000 was the best option. You want to put the E6000 on with just a little end of your bamboo skewer so that you're not adding too much glue, because we're not going to be painting this. You don't want a lot of excess glue. So I added a little bit at the top and a little bit at the bottom, put my bamboo skewer on. Then I went about a ½ inch and put another one on. I did this all the way around the clear jar. Now E6000 usually takes overnight to dry, so I put some painter's tape really lightly around my jar. I didn't like press it down firmly, and I'm gonna let that sit overnight. The next day I came in and removed the painter's tape and everything was glued on really well. I styled this on my coffee table with a few faux stems. Thanks for watching today, and I'll see you in our next one. Bye.